Friends, will you pray with me? Oh, God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing in your sight. Oh, God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Before I believed in Jesus, I believed in Buffy. I came to take my faith seriously in college, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I go back to middle school. Back to VHS tapes and the WB and talking over episodes with Kim Berman when we were supposed to be memorizing the preamble to the Constitution. More than most TV shows of the late 90s, Buffy the Vampire Slayer gave me a framework and a vocabulary for understanding the world and my place in it. It was especially useful for understanding how to respond to evil. Buffy had a pretty simple approach to evil. There were good guys and there were bad guys, and someone was coming to save you. Every week, there was a villain of some kind, and every week, Buffy and her friends would stop them. Her feelings about the bad guy might be complicated. The villain might be Buffy's boyfriend, who's turned into a soulless demon and is killing her friends. But you could always identify the bad guy, and it was always obvious that they needed to be stopped. You could also trust that someone was gonna stop them. Buffy, it might be Buffy with a stake, it might be Giles smashing a statue of Janice, but you knew that by the end of the 42-minute episode, someone was going to save the day. It might be a Pyrrhic victory, but good would always triumph over evil. Stalwart and true would always beat pointy horns and black hats. Slayers would always beat vampires, and the Hellmouth would always be closed. There's a lot to be said for a Buffy the Vampire Slayer infused understanding of the problem of evil. It produces teamwork, resilience, clarity. It grows no small serving of that comfy, cozy feeling of self-righteousness, because of course no one casts themselves as the demons. It feels pretty good, and it worked pretty well for me through the high stakes and melodramatic crucible of high school, the thing that it was actually designed to explore and critique. And it sent me off to college believing that a Scooby gang of hard-working and talented people could stop any evil in its tracks. And then along came Jesus. Jesus, with his love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you, turn the other cheek story. Complicating and complicating and complicating what should just be stake and move on. Stake and move on. Jesus offers few clear binaries to his followers. No option to declare another irredeemably evil. Only an unpredictable, coming like a thief in the night promise that someone's coming to rescue you. Jesus is playing a different game and telling a different story. It's one of the specialties of his ministry. My friend Shannon calls Jesus a God of creative third options. Theologian Walter Wink calls it Jesus' third way. At every turn in his ministry, people try to pin him down on things, on good and evil, on healing or not healing, on the Sabbath, on fasting or not fasting. And every time he refuses to take the bait. He busts the binary. When presented with an either or, he asks a question. He tells a story, or he acts with mercy in a way that complicates and complicates and complicates any kind of clear line between good and evil people. Jesus consistently refuses to play vampires versus slayers. The way of Jesus offers neither the glow of self-righteousness that comes from knowing ourselves to be good, nor the satisfaction of clear victory over someone we all know is evil. It offers another thing, a creative third option, a conviction that all of us are beloved children of God, and a life lived believing that not one of us is beyond the redemptive hand of God. The way of Jesus offers an opportunity not to engage with the monster of the weak, but to participate in a creative struggle to restore the humanity of all. It's all over our passage today. Jesus gives us a lot of examples of creative ways to restore the humanity of the self and the other, of ways to shake up and startle us out of systems that long to dehumanize us. We can break down a couple of them together. If anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. It's a classic for a reason. Understanding it requires us to think about what it takes for a right-handed person to hit someone on their right cheek. You have to backhand them, which in first century Aramaic culture was a way of punishing people who were seen by society to be less than the person doing the slapping. One would backhand their wife, or a slave, or a people group they'd conquered. But if you turn the other cheek, if you expose your left cheek, the thing you do is force that person to hit you like an equal. In the context of its time, this act refuses the dehumanizing intent of the backhand and denies its outcome. The injured person refuses to surrender their humanity, and it requires the person doing violence to take responsibility for doing violence to a fellow human as an equal. The injured person is not a demon. The person doing harm is not a hero. Both are humans in a system set up to deny their humanity. In the moment of turning the other cheek, the lie of the system and the truth of the humanity of the other are both exposed, creating a moment where human can recognize human and creating the possibility for change. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go also the 2nd mile. Another chestnut from the sayings of a creative third option kind of God. Unpacking this instruction takes knowing that Roman soldiers could make Jewish people, or any conquered people, carry their pack for a mile. They could just commandeer another human's life whenever they liked, but only for a mile. So it was limited total subjugation. We'll deny your dignity and bodily autonomy, but only for a little while, only for a mile. Just enough that you know that you are oppressed, but not enough that you fight back in desperation. Good guys and bad guys, humans and demons, powerful and powerless. A person in this situation, a person impressed into carrying a Roman's pack, couldn't count on a rescue. They couldn't flee or fight. The law of the land said the act was legal. If they wanted to challenge the status quo, they were on their own. This is where creativity sneaks in. Instead of dropping the pack at mile 1, you keep carrying it. You throw the system and the Roman off their step. Your action, your humanizing willingness to go another mile, your taking back the power of choice action, shakes the Roman soldier out of the status quo and into active thought and uncharted territory. They are forced to consider you, not as a pack animal or an anonymous peon, but as a person, and a person doing them a kindness. Gratitude might bubble up in their hearts. It's no easy thing to carry a 60-pound pack on a hot day. But gratitude isn't a feeling you have for an inferior. Gratitude comes when someone helps you, not because you forced them to do something. The oppressor is forced to wrestle with the humanity of the oppressed and with their part in denying that humanity. by treating the oppressor as a human. The person who is being oppressed creates an opportunity for a human to recognize a human, for a grateful Roman soldier to ask for his pack back, for a moment of clarity and connection that can redeem the humanity in both people stuck in a broken system. Jesus will not let us play vampires versus slayers. He will not let humans be reduced to any kind of categorization or let his followers dwell in the clarity that might come with it. He also won't let us stand back from the work. Jesus doesn't deny that there is evil in the world. He tells us his Father makes the sun rise on the evil and on the good. And he expects us to enter into the thick of it, for we are not passive participants in our own lives. The entry Jesus expects, though, is not coming in like the Scooby Gang. It's not good guys and bad guys. It's not stalwart and true beating pointy horns and black hats. It is not just that the bad guys don't have easily spotted, twisty mustaches, but that there are no irredeemably bad guys at all. Jesus expects us to join in his conviction that all of us are beloved children of God, and join in a life lived believing that not one of us is beyond the redemptive hand of God, that not one of us is stuck forever in a system that would deny their humanity. The problem of evil is not humans versus demons. It is humans alongside other humans, perhaps stuck in and shaped by systems that long to dehumanize, but never irredeemably stuck. The complicated and complicated and complicated wrestle that Jesus invites us into is the work of love. Creative third options that remember that both we and our enemies are humans and beloved, and an invitation to participate in the creative struggle to restore the full humanity of all. Amen.